all related to the same topic we're going to be talking about.
That'll work. Yeah, I got I wrote down pretty much all the answers to the one questions already. So
perfect. All right, so we are officially live on Facebook. Let me make sure that I can see you here, and then mute this one, and then expand it. All right. All right, Sergeant Major, welcome to this Q&A. This is Sergeant Major Delapena, former 2nd Brigade Sergeant Major. How are you, Sergeant Major?
No, I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Good, good. So we are here today because we had a big change in the Army promotion policy, and a lot of people had a lot of questions and they had a lot of doubts. And I know I had like a bunch of texts and emails about it, and I only can answer what I can read. So I wanted to bring you in the conversation and see how we can answer more questions. And we have preset couple already, but hopefully people will join in. We can clear their doubts and complaints.
All right.
So let's start off with saying thank you for joining this. Go ahead, Sean.
You let it build up a little bit?
What's that?
You want to let it build up a little bit, or?
Yeah, well, we can wait a couple minutes. I know. Let me get comfortable here. Yeah, we can wait a couple minutes.
Yeah, I got no issues. I got time. If you want to let some people jump in, so they get full. But no, that's good.
Is the COVID down there in Fort Bliss crazy, or still under control?
It's under control right now. So Fort Bliss is a hub for the redeployments. So the team I'm over, the division guys that are coming back from Afghanistan, a lot of DA civilians that work in my realm now. They all come through here. So they come through Fort Bliss to get demobbed. But before they get demobbed, they got to do the quarantine here. So they're quarantined here for about 14 days in a facility before they start out processing. So most of them come from Afghanistan and Iraq right now.
That's like one of the biggest change right now. Everybody who's coming back or even going to Afghanistan, they got to do the 14-day quarantine.
They do. Yep. Both going in and out for their country because they're requesting us to do it. And then we want them to do it the same way also.
Exactly. Is that, maybe we're going to be a little bit off topic here, but like, what was the biggest impact? Like the Army, I don't think the Army wasn't ready for something like this at this point. I
don't think anybody was ready. I mean, no one woke up in the morning thinking, man, we're not going to be able to deal with a virus, right? We've had a ton of viruses before. We've been able to deal with them. This one just kind of creeped up on us. I think faster than anything else, and it's a fast one. Mm-hmm. And it's moving faster than most viruses. So I guess that's what's got people like on edge right now.
Exactly.
Just trying to figure it out, right? Just trying to figure out how to contain it without losing as many as we got to lose, right?
Yeah,
exactly. It's never a good way to compare it to any other virus because one life is more than anyone wants to lose,
Yeah, like the biggest impact I can see with the Army is like we work so close to each other every day. Yeah. So having to contain it.
Yeah, so that's one of the discussions like we're here. You still got brigade combat teams that are getting ready to deploy, right?
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So you can't do a stack without being close. You can't ride a Bradley without being close, right? You can't be in a tank without being close. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing we do that's not close, right? We can't load an aircraft to jump out of aircraft without being close, right? Exactly. Unless you only got 10 jumpers, that would be great for a damn good jump. But you're not gonna get the effectiveness and stay ready, And what you'll see is as we start talking this promotion system, and anything that the Army's changing right now, everything is based on staying ready. Mm-hmm. We're taking a lot of things in the heart to stay ready at the end of the day. That's the end state for any leader in the Army that I'll pass on. Our job is no matter what's occurring in the world, we have to stay ready. We can't allow it to not stay ready. Good today during I don't know if you saw the press conference today, the COVID task force, but DOD is a big play today because we figured out that the cartel is starting to move drugs faster. Exactly. And they're taking advantage of the lull of people on the street. They're just taking the advantage of of the situation.
Yeah.
But DOD jumped on right away and says, hey, we're going to stop it. Like, I don't care what the hell is going on. We're going to mobilize. We're going to get people out there from Southcom, and we're going to get people there. You know, we're going to get the drugs stopped from hitting our.
I'm pretty sure no one expected that at the beginning of the press conference. Like, it was something off the wall, like, because it makes sense. You know, everything, our guard will be down, especially our readiness. You know, everybody is at home, quote unquote, here. And they're like, oh, this is a prime opportunity to move everything, even by air. So, like, DOD coming out like that out of the blue and force, like, hey, we're here. We can see you. We know you're coming. Don't worry. We wait for you. So that was a big surprise.
So,
let's see. Questions are coming in already. Let me save them for a minute.
All right.
You remember Staff Sergeant Jones from White?
I do.
He said if you need a driver, he volunteers.
Good to hear from you, Jonesy. Hey, keep up the fight, man. I'm proud of you, Jonesy.
All right, so Jones, I love Jones. So let's start with the policy. So what can you tell us about this new Army policy getting implemented now?
So the policy is wide. You know, one of the biggest parts of the policy is answering the question on PME requirements, right? The PME requirements for promotion to Staff Sergeant First Class, based on it being suspended on 1 October 20, right? Exactly. The end state is every policy you're going to see has one theme, and the theme every leader needs to understand. All these policies, when they're written, have one mission intent, and the mission intent is to protect the force, which is protect us, right? And preserve our readiness. We have to do that because, like, again, today you got the drug cartels trying to bring drugs in. There's other state actors that are trying to take advantage of it. There's networks out there that are still working against us. And the last thing we can say is, well, we're not ready because we got COVID-19. That's never going to be the answer of a soldier. That's never going to be our response, right? Our response is we're ready to go. So every policy you see is how we maintain the force. When it comes to promotion is we got to promote leaders, right? Because there's one thing that doesn't stop. We stop PCSs. Okay, PCSs are slowed down, right? There's some waivers, but not many. Very rare there's a waiver to PCS. And then there's TDY pieces, but there's still ETSs and retirements, right? And chapters that occur. They still have to leave the Army. Like, we cannot hold them contractually in the Army, right? That's unless we put a stop loss, and we're not a stop loss right now. We're not in that. We're not talking about that. That's nowhere near in the cards right now. So the only way to do it is we got to promote, right? People got to get put in the rank for the positions they need so that we can maintain a ready force. So that is what the policies, that is what the policymakers and the Pentagon and the DAG want. That is their job, is to maintain maintain the force by putting these policies and putting in levers that we could pull to maintain our readiness, right? Okay.
So I have a follow-up for that one, because even with the PCS being stopped, like, how does the Army, and that's not one of the questions we talked about, but like that was going to be one follow-up. How does the Army can promote even if PCS are stopped? Because what I'm understanding is the Army still promote by positions, not just numbers, and obviously budget. But like, with everybody being stagnant, how can the Army can still promote people? Is it for future operations at that point?
Yeah, so we can't remain stagnant. There's never going to be a stagnant, right? Promotions are going to move just as fast, right? And that was one of the questions on there. Are we stagnant? We're not going to be stagnant. We never will be. We're going to promote. We've promoted this month the same number we're going to promote. The Army is never going to get that right. When you're thinking about balance, like, how many platoon sergeants do we have in Korea compared to how many platoon sergeants we have at Bragg? You're never going to get that right. We lived that life long enough, right? The Army doesn't promote that way based on, hey, if you're at Bragg and you need 4 E7s, we're going to promote 4 sergeant first class. We don't work like that. Okay. It works as a total Army, and then HRC, as the promotions happen, pull the levers, and those levers are what executes movements based on rank, based on position. But you're never going to be 100% perfect. So the PCS thing, it's going to hurt a little bit because people are going to stay there. But you got battalion sergeant majors and brigade sergeant majors that move people, and first sergeants that move squad leaders and team leaders that have to continue to manage their force. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes absolutely sense. So like with what people worry about, because that's one of the biggest questions people ask me throughout the whole thing. It was like how effective this could be. Like, do you see a domino effect down the line, or something that?
Yeah. There's going to be an effect, right? I think a big effect comes from DROS locations, right? You got Alaska, you got Korea, you have Germany. Every place that has a DROS where people have to come out of that place because of time on station, right? So there's going to be a domino effect because we got to move a lot of people out of there that are going to hit DROS at the same time. So, you build it every month, you lose a little bit because of DROS. Now it's going to be a mass exodus, right? With a mass entrance into to refill those, right? Exactly. And HRC has to manage that to the best of it, again, because those theaters are operational. Remember, those operational theaters, right? Alaska's there because it's operational to protect us in that side of the Pacific. You got Korea protecting the PEN. You got Germany that's still protecting Europe. So there's a lot of strategic piece that you have to maintain there. So that has to happen. That's HRC just working those levers.
Exactly. So that's definitely something they have to start thinking about, especially on the long run here. How can they fix it?
And HRC is on it right now. I mean, they know that the longer this goes, it changes the scenario, right? So they had a scenario initially. Now, tomorrow, after 30 days, now there's another scenario because now we got to change the date to the movement.
Exactly.
So we just got to remain flexible. And I think the only thing we can do as soldiers is remember what our duty is, right? Yep. Our duty is to follow orders and move, right? So the minute we get that movement order, we've got to move. We got to make it happen. We got to get there so that we can continue to protect the United States.
Exactly. So another thing that I read on the policy, which people have questions, especially for the E-Force going to the 5 and 6 boards. How do you see battalion commanders and sergeant majors? Do you see them actually doing a virtual board, or do you see them doing more like a pocket board? How do you see this?
Yeah. So the policy gave a lot of. They gave commanders, the commanders of the battalion commanders are the promoters of, sergeants and staff sergeants. The sergeant major executes the board in lieu with the battalion commander's guidance. So at the end of the day, what it's doing is allowing them to make that decision, right? And allows flexibility. You could hold a one-on-one board, right? You could do it virtually, kind of do it like this, right? This is becoming a norm, right? And what we're learning is this is becoming a norm. I do a lot of teleconferences now. We used to have always meetings in a conference room. Now most of my meetings, I'm here in El Paso now working this mission here, but my meetings are all virtual, just like this. They're on the phone, so we have ways of doing it. You can execute a board that way too, right? And then the other way you could do it is the other option it gives it is if all the senior NCOs, the NCO support channel, come together and they all kind of agree and talk, hey, Sergeant Thomas is great. He should be the one to be promoted, and this is why he gets promoted. And they have a discussion. It kind of becomes like a decentralized board, like we do at HRC for Sergeant First Class, Master Sergeant, and Sergeant Major.
Exactly.
You all look at the records and say, you know what? He or she is ready to be a sergeant or a staff sergeant. And the vote goes in, you all vote yay or nay, it gets done, and then they become promotable. Right? It's just giving the commander more options based on the environment that we're in right now. Okay, and will it make it a difference?
Should be something. No, it should be something that the Army could implement in the long run. Maybe they can go away from actually doing a board. Because board is just you study a piece of paper. Go armystudyguide.com and kind of memorize something and do the board. But like something where your peers or your senior leaders are talking about you. Hey, Sergeant Major. Hey, this especially needs to get promoted because X and Y, and they believe in that leader. Also empowers lower ranking NCOs to be able to promote their lower enlisted. I can see where the Army can push towards that direction.
Yeah, I can see that too. But I also, where I counter it, right, what a board really does, what a board did for me is they put me in front of a panel and allowed me to speak, right? It almost becomes an interview, but you really start learning how the individual reacts to pressure and how he or she reacts to just being under the gun, right? How do they move? It really never comes down to the question and answer. If you sat on boards, as a board member, as a first sergeant, as a board president, as a sergeant major, it never usually came down to the questions, right? Unless a person that came into the board completely not knowing nothing. I mean, that of course is going to kill you coming in. But most of the time it's how they react, right? How do they react to pressure? How they react to the the first sergeant, getting on them, for a certain question that he asked. So that is helpful for a young leader to go through that, right? And how does he express? At the end of the day, he has to fight for his soldiers, right? He or she has to fight for their soldiers to the chain of command. And that kind of shows us how to me, it always showed me how that individual is going to fight for his or her soldiers. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
So
absolutely.
It's a good thing to do. But again, I think it gives us flexibility based on where we're at right now, not to hold promotions back, because that's what we don't want to do. We don't want to hold nobody back based on this going on. We want to continue moving with promotions.
Yeah, because the issue that people ask when this came out is like, oh, I'm going to RCP and I need to go to the board. I was going to the board, but this opens the spectrum to where they can actually still attend a board virtually or paper. They still can get promoted. They still get promotable. And now, I don't want to go that direction yet, but now WLC and MSLC being virtual, you can still get promoted. And that I can see the Army is trying to still promote people during the situation that everybody is in right now.
Again, that's the first question. That's the important piece, right? We got to keep ready. We got to keep the systems going, and we can't stop them based on this situation.
Exactly. So what do you see? Anything you can see that the semi could change with this? Because I don't think any other type of boards could change because of this situation.
No, the semi-centralized boards, they're on pause right now because we just can't move people to HRC to conduct the boards. They're still going to go, right? The difference is it's just going to be at a different time, but we will still execute those as normal, just on a different date. So the best thing I can tell people for it is, the next board that was coming up was the Master Sergeant Evaluation Board, which would have been the first evaluation board that we done for promotion to Sergeant Major. So that those Master Sergeants just have to keep their records ready, right? It may be 4 months before we get back on track. The most important thing they have to do is forget that they did their records 2 weeks ago. The boards were supposed to happen this month, but now 4 months passed before the board starts. They need to go relook and revalidate their board file one more time. If they got to take a photo again, so it's fresher, depending on what occurred during this time frame. So that's what we can't forget. Whenever that comes out, look at the MILPER message. Make sure you're smart on the MILPER message. If you're not on s1.net, get on there, get your updates, and then as leaders, kick out the updates to emails. Get people the information on Facebook, email, however you can. The most important thing we can do right now is communicate with each other.
That's a great tip, actually. I didn't even think about that. So the semi, how does the Army going to promote with them waiving the whole PME requirement for the E7?
Yeah, so the PME requirement, waivers, it's only for, make sure we're clear, the PME waiver is only for ALC and SLC. BLC and MLC are not on the waiver yet, okay? So this is just for our staff sergeants and our sergeant first class population. The waivers are going to come just based on that, right? We can't move people around. They can't go to school. We can't hold those schools virtually yet. Those schools are not ready to be held virtually. They'll probably start working on it now, but right now we can't. But right now, BLC, MLC, and now you look at Drill Sergeant School has gone to a virtual model. Drill Sergeant School is a pilot. So is BLC and MLC are right now sitting on, MLC, there's already been a distance learning, so that's not really a pilot. BLC is really a pilot on how that's going to work from a virtual side, because you kind of lose the effect of the grading of drill and ceremonies, grading of PRT, the hands-on grading in that level. You kind of lose that for that young specialist coming up to be a sergeant. So the Army they'll figure that out, I think. And really, I always go back to that's the team leader's job, right? Team leaders got to do their job, right? Squad leaders got to make sure the team leader is doing their job, and they're the ones that are teaching our specialists how to do things. So we just got to continue that piece of it. If that makes any sense.
My question for you is, since like MLC is being a distant learning already, do you see BLC doing like a structure-led virtual reality, or you think they're going to move into providing the material, go online and do the material?
I think it's going to be twofold. I think it's going to be this kind of interaction, right, with the instructor.
Okay.
Make sure that every student is participating and is giving, some data or doing it with it. And then there's going to be some that, hey, you need to go on there and do some kind of DL type modules, right? And get done with that. Take a test, unproctored test, and see what the answer. See how you do with the test wise. I think that's it's gonna be a mixture of it.
Yeah. Do you see this being implemented in the long run? Because I know the HRC is trying not answering that question yet, obviously, but at the same time.
I can't answer the crystal ball. I wish I had it. If you ask me as Sergeant Major Delapena what my thoughts are BLC should never be distance learning, right? Is that one and the Sergeant Major's Academy are two important schools because it's the one time that you don't go with your own MOS and you kind of network yourself and you learn about other you get to learn other people and meet them. Just when you went to PLDC or BLC, I went to PLDC back then. That's where I networked for the first time, met all kinds of people that, were in my MOS. So that's what kind of makes those two, and the Sergeant Major Academy is an important one for networking, making sure that you can help. That's how you help your soldiers out, right? I call another Sergeant Major that can then affect another soldier and help another soldier through. So that's kind of what those there. And then, the learning piece of it is pretty important too. So I share those two in my mind should never go to distance learning. Okay. The other two, even MLC, I'm kind of iffy because again, that's MOS non-immaterial. That's a good time for senior NCOs to get together from different MOSs and learn about each other, right? Because we only get to learn, hey, what does our world do? Well, now you get to learn what the other world does when you have those kind of courses. Yeah,
virtually you can only get one perspective. I mean, the Army is going to create the visual material to what makes sense. If they go 100% visual here, so they're going to create one equal mindset. But you're never going to get those different inputs or what really worked before, what didn't work before. Policy changes come from those decisions. So I always prefer one-on-one personal experience more than anything anyways. But it's like training.
Personal interaction is something you can never get away from, right? You can't virtual train. You can't virtual train a live fire. You have to be that. You got to have that interaction, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, this just not say that because the little battalion computer thing game that they play now.
That's wargaming for commanders, right? That's good for commanders to wargame because they don't put no one at risk, and they can wargame their thoughts, and the computer can kind of tell them what it's doing. But when it comes to squad and platoon execution, we need to be on the ground. It needs to be 100%. Physical on the ground. That's the only way our soldiers are going to learn it, and team leaders and squad leaders are going to get out there to push them through it. So
100% agree with that. So with the whole staying on the virtual mindset here, how does the Army, if any, are they prepared for these individual issues that people may arise? Like I know 1059s are going to come in play here. I know they're going to, same with Drill Sergeant Academy, they're going to do a 1059 for those 2 weeks virtually. But if you don't complete it because of personal issue problem, computer, whatever people, everybody's have excuses for everything. So like how can we mitigate that when I know that's going to be a rise?
Yeah, I think the mitigation to me is if you know me long enough is common sense, right? We got to have common sense as senior leaders. Leaders got to understand that this is not normal, right? We didn't wake up when COVID-19 happened and said, "Oh, this is normal. We've dealt with this before. We did it." Our ancestors did, in other times, but we haven't dealt with this. So again, to me, we got to put common sense into the factor. We got to explain what's going on, and everybody's got a problem. Everybody's going to have an issue, right, with how they do it, and that's okay. That's okay. And again, it's a stressful time for families, and we can't forget that. It's not only about the individual soldier; it's about the individual soldier's family, right?
Exactly.
Both personal, family, left and right, and then distant family. Everybody's having a kind of an issue with this. The best thing we would do is use common sense and still continue the force and keep the force ready. And again, that's where common sense leadership has to come into play with this. It's not going to be easy. I got it. You're going to say the drill sergeant that got the 2 week virtual. I'll be laughing too. Like, come on, drill sergeant. Hashtag 2020, right?
I'm pretty sure you're not the only one. Everybody thought the same thing.
That's all right. Everybody's always going to say it was harder, right? When I went to school, it was harder, right? It's always everybody had a harder game, but at the end of the day, it's the same. It's the same thing. We get the trained individual out there. We get them into the force, and we get our trainees trained because there are replacements, and we can't stop that cycle at all. The replacements cannot stop coming. That's when we're going to really hit a wall if our replacements stop coming. And when I say replacement, that's our privates. That's the new generation coming in to replace us when we retire. We've got to get them out of the force.
Exactly. So with the whole assigned first classes and staff sergeants getting that PME waiver, how does that will affect me in the future? Meaning, let's say this thing goes all the way to fiscal year 21. Hopefully not. Crossing our fingers. Obviously, we want this thing to end before summer.
Yep.
But how does my promotion compare to peers that got promoted on my same list already? They went to the PME, they got pinned, they completed the check on the block for that next rank, but my promotion is on holdover because of that PME requirement. Is going to be a conversation in the later future?
It already is. It's already, and that's where the waive PME for staff sergeant and sergeant first class is in play already. They're going to promote those with PME first. Okay, those are going to happen first. Complete that, and then we got to still fill our ranks. So depending on how long this goes, then you'll get the waiver, right? We got to promote 10, and we're out of PME complete 11 Bravos. Well, these 10, 11 Bravos non-complete, you get promoted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense.
It's got to happen. It's got to continue. That route will go. The big question is, well, I got overpassed because they got SLC and ALC prior to me. We're never going to win, right? We're never going to win that battle. It stinks. Not the way we want it. But again, we're not business as usual. We're not this is not business as usual. I can't, predict the future, and we couldn't predict this was coming. So the best thing we could do is get the right people promoted that are done with their PME, and then waive everybody else if the need is needed, right? We get so far into this and we're out of PME trained, then the waiver's already in place, signed by HRC to go ahead and start getting people promoted without PME. And that's okay. We'll get you to there as soon as this thing lifts, we'll get you to school. And you got to pass and you got to get there within the time period that the HRC has put you on. So.
And the timing grade will be the same for those two, even with the waived and the PME complete? Are they going to be the same?
Yeah, it'll happen if you get the waiver for PME, and let's say you get promoted, let's say it's 1 August is your promotion. You don't have PME, but you got waivered. 1 August is your promotion date. It's not when you go to PME, complete PME, the graduation date becomes your date of rank. No. You get exactly. when we start issuing waivers, and it's MOS based, right? Every MOS is going to be different depending on what their backlog or what their current PME complete is compared to how many they got to promote that are not PME. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's going to be a factor for every MOS differently, but it's there. And one of the questions I did, so to make sure to kill this rumor, let's say I'm a staff sergeant non-promotable, and I'm just lucky because I'm at Benning. And I got the SLC because I'm at Benning. Okay, that happens to if you're in the schoolhouse area. They're not getting promoted before you. Like, they did not make the promotion list. So the rumor is, well, they got SLC, they're going to promote them because no. They did not make the promotion list. They're not promotable. They're not going to pass you because you're already promotable. You'll get the PMU waiver. They're not going to get promoted. They got to still make a promotion list to be on. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
There was a rumor out there saying, no, if they're SLC and they got SLC complete and they're not promotable. No. Incorrect statement. You got to be promotable, selected by a board for you to be promoted. PME or
and
not.
The Army and the next rumor that I have is now that the Army has this waiver, there's two lists that are battling each other right now. They got the fiscal year 18, which the one I was, and the fiscal year 19. So yeah. I know people on 19 have PME complete, and then 18 is still a long list. It's a laundry list. It's going to be long forever. Are they going to stay at fiscal year 18 first and then transition, or they're going to promote? Next match?
You just answered your question. They will not. So they will promote off the 18 list, right? So let's say there's 20 PME complete FY19 staff sergeant for sergeant first class, and there's 20. Sergeant first classes, non-PME complete from the 18 list. They cannot promote anyone on the 19 list until they exhaust your 18 list. That cannot happen. That's too far of a skip. Like, we won't do that. So your list will complete. You guys will get if they need 20 of you from the F18 list and you don't have PME, you're going to get promoted with a waiver. And then once they exhaust your list, then they start with the FY19 list and start promoting their PME complete first, and then start giving waivers if we get that far into it. So, but no, an FY19 selectee will not get pinned before you, even if they have PME already. you'll get the waiver before them.
Okay. I got a follow-up question here. It says,
okay.
Do these changes have anything to add to this MAP memo promotion? My effective promotion date was 20 March, but I wonder if I still have to put in a 4187 and a packet through HRC.
Is this, so he or she was promoted?
He said this SMAPP. Let me send you the question on the chat for our
let me see,
so you can see what the program is. All right, O'Neill, we're gonna answer your question right now. We gotta clear this out real quick. Here it is.
Okay, let me open it up real quick. All right, do these changes add to the SMAP memo promotion? My effective promotion date was 20 March. But I wonder if I still have to put a 4187 packet through HRC. No, you should not. You should not have to put a 4187 if you already received orders on effective promotion date. Hopefully that makes sense. Like if you already have an effective promotion date, you do not have to do nothing with HRC. S1 should have already received that and should already have updated you or updated your records and your SRB.
All right, O'Neill, if that answers your question, let us know. If you have more follow-up, let us know too. Anybody else who's watching this, have any questions, also jump in and send them on comments and we'll get them addressed. So we can continue the conversation with the whole, what can we learn from this? From as a soldier, Army level, what can we learn from all these situations?
I think the biggest thing we always learn from these, I mean, we've had them, 9/11 was one, if you were around for 9/11, is resiliency, right? Is resiliency and the effects that the Army, how the Army and we can do things to still keep us in the fight. We don't just throw our hands up as an Army and say, we can't do it. We can't go, we can't move on. We can't, we still got deployments going on. There's a unit here at Bliss. I just saw them, one of the BCTs, they're still moving. I mean, there's nothing stopping them. They have to get in the theater like a normal rotation, right? They got to go through a quarantine and then they got to deploy. Does it mess up the training cycle? Yeah, I mean, but that's okay. Instead of going to JRTC, we just did it in the backyard.
Exactly.
We've done that. We've done that very often when we've been called out, right? We make it happen at the end of the day. So what we learn from this is common sense leadership has to prevail. We have to listen to what's going on and we have to communicate. And this is what's probably the most important thing I think we're learning from this instance is communication. Communication is key. When you don't have a full formation, I can't be the platoon sergeant that says, hey, bring it in. Let's get the notes out. You don't have that. You can't, you're not having formations no more. You got to be able to grab data that's coming from the Department of the Army level to your battalion level leadership, and you have to get it communicated out. You have to be able to get this info out to our troopers that are stuck in their homes, that are whatever they're doing, they're non-essential, whatever it is. They still need info, and we still have to be able to execute our task.
That's a big issue right now because essential personnel. Now we know what essential personnel is. Obviously, it changes every day. I just sent you another question, by the way, Sergeant Major. All right,
let me read it real quick. How's it going to work for individuals who do not get promoted with these waivers as far as still going to PME after COVID-19 issues resolved and classes open back up? How long will it go to complete these classes? So I guess the question is, when are you going to get slotted into class? Mm-hmm. Let me share something with you that's kind of, I don't see a lot of individuals do, right? So you got to individually take your career in your hands, but I also need leaders to do their job and help other soldiers. So how do you do that? Well, there's HRC for every branch. If you've never been there, open the website. You go to other websites, you're on people on Facebook, TikTok, whatever you want to call it. Go to hrc.army.mil, right? That's a site. It has a lot of information. If you click there, you go to career branches. Every career branch has a school's individual that's in charge of nothing but the SLC, ALC for your MOS and MLC too. They're in charge of it. They're the ones that slot you. 9 times out of 10, if you call that individual, excuse me, not Corona.
I'm over here.
If you call that individual and say, hey, I'm ready to go, I would like to go, you most likely 9 times out of 10 are going to get slotted.
That's true.
Because
100%.
Now they got your number and they have your social and they say, okay, oh, somebody just dropped for whatever reason. They dropped out for deferment or whatever. Now they put your name in. You just made their job easier because you called and said, I'm ready. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've 100%. Seen in many instances. I've helped many NCOs through that process. Well, every time I look and I ask somebody, have you called HRC? I get that look, like, I didn't know I could call HRC. Well, you can. You can. Your NCO could call for you, or you as an individual can call HRC. You have to do that. You got to be proactive in your career. No one else is going to do it for you.
That was going to be my follow-up too, because I was going to be, throughout this virtual army that we're fighting right now, how can we make ourselves look better and look apart from all the peers throughout this, especially when TDY is canceled. You can even go to school for BRAC schools. There are really none, maybe John Master School. But how can you make yourself better throughout this? So when this whole situation opens back up, I can still compete with the E8.
Yeah. So, one of the important things, so how do you stay competitive, right? Mm-hmm. Well, if I walk away from this brief or I walk away from this session, right, I will tell you, you better know what AR 600-25 says. I'm going to repeat that one again. AR 600-25. If you have not broken that book open since you became a sergeant, shame on you. Shame on your leader who hasn't told you. I'm telling you now as your leader, I'm telling you as a leader that you have to pop open that DA PAM. That DA PAM, it has every MOS in there, and your MOS every year updates it and tells you what you need to do to get promoted. And when I sat in a board, so I sat on a senior promotion board at HRC, I cannot promote you off of what I want you to be. Mm-hmm. The rumor is I can't sit there and be like, oh, I want the guy to be from Bragg, Airborne, and he better have this behind. No. That's not how the boards work. Mm-hmm. The boards work off, we follow 625, and that has the data on it that I could only promote you off of. And so can every other board member. And it's pretty clear. It tells you how much college they want you to have. It'll tell you what positions they want you to have, how long you should sit in that position, how successful you have to be in that position to be put on the top. I mean, it is detailed enough that as you read it, you will stay competitive.
That's a prime example right there. College. Not a lot of NCOs have BAs or anything. So,
but if you look at 625, it's clear as day. It tells you almost every MOS in there says higher learning. Now, we're not asking you to get a doctor's degree. Higher learning. Listen, the guy, when I sat on the board, if you had an associate's, you got the same credit than the guy that's got a doctor's degree. It didn't matter because you don't get that many points. Exactly. I don't give a guy that had a doctor's degree more points than the guy with associates because you did what the Army told you to do. Get some college, right? Now, I'm not saying the guy that went to Central Texas and took 2 classes and got like 20 credits for PE, he didn't get the points, all right? We're smarter than that, all right? I've been around long enough. You got to at least show something.
Or they went online and did the transcript. They did the transcript.
Come on, man. You can't do it that way, right? But it just goes to show, right? It just look at that DA PAM, open it up, and that's how you get yourself better. That's how you get yourself through it. At the end of the day, once all this opens back up, just get to school. That's the important thing you can do is get to school.
I got another question here from Janet Siren. Let me give us like 2 seconds while I copy paste this thing.
All right, waiting on it. Okay, so what will happen to those with ALC and SLC slots from March through August, right, that are affected? They'll push the classes to the right. So, so what the Army is doing right now is if you had a class based on, let's say, March, April, May, June, July, August, however long this lasts, they're going to keep that order that you received the class. And the end state is once the pipeline opens up again, the first month that we get it, everybody that had a class for March gets inputted into the August. Let's just say it all ends in August and we get the first class out, they get input in the August class. And then they'll start filling the ranks that way. Kind of the backlog gets kind of keep you in order. Now, I will tell you, the worst thing you can do at this time is have an excuse. And I got it. Something's going to happen. Family, I got it. It's going to occur. But I can only tell you that backlog is going to be so big and we just have to catch up with it. Mm-hmm. But the worst thing you do is if you had a slot to call and say, I got to defer. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got to defer. You knew me as a BCT Sergeant Major. I won't defer you. You're going to school. I don't care. We went to JRTC with like 60%. I didn't care. Told the brigade commander, we are not deferring no one from schools. They're going to their PME. We can't do that to our force. We need people to take over the promotion. right?
I want to clarify something about that too, because I think didn't the Army added that you have to, once everything is over, you got 12 months. Obviously, we have to look at the schedule. Don't you have 12 months to be PME complete? Is that something I read? Or I misread
no, I
that
think
one?
it's 20. You misread that one. I think it's actually 24 months.
24
I think
months.
It's 24 months. Yeah, it's 24 months. It's a big window. If you don't get there within 24 months, you got other problems, right?
And even now, right, even for us that came on the list for fiscal year 18, we had 36, obviously without COVID, but we had 36 months. And then even that, since it's an HRC schedule, we can still, they know that we're still waiting. So it wasn't us that deferred it. So they added that time. They're like, hey, we got you back, basically. There was an email sent before all this. Like, hey, you're coming up to your deadline, but we understand that we're going to backfill this. Don't worry about it. So that's a great point. I didn't even think about asking that question. So don't have an excuse to go to school.
The waiver is 24 months, and you shouldn't have an excuse for 24 months, right? They're going to slot you. Now, again, like you said, if it happens to be backlogged and we get past 24 months and you didn't defer, we got common sense leaders up at the top that say, hey, we got to extend it like they just did. Hey, 36 months. We're not going to QMP you. We're not going to hold you accountable because that wasn't your decision.
Exactly. And then another issue that I saw from all this backlog, even before coronavirus, was the fact that walk-ons weren't even authorized anymore. And I know a lot of people were, that helped kind of ease the HRC scheduling, because that happened to me when I came promotable. Go ahead.
I think it's a rumor, and I think it depends on the location, right? Every commandant has their way, right?
Okay.
But I will tell you, I know from Fort Leonard Wood is the only fact I could give you. There's walk-ons on Leonard Wood, right?
Okay.
From engineer, SLC, Seaburn, SLC, MP, there's walk-ons occurring.
Mm-hmm. That was like for me, it was shut down by HRC when I was trying to walk on for Benning. Even though they even said they had slots, it was an issue that I know a couple other people had. But hopefully that's still, like you said, commandant directive.
It is. And I will tell you that commandant probably put walk-ons in there because the worst thing you could do is not fill a slot. Mm-hmm. But they were probably sitting there at Benning, standing at the front door or waiting. Right.
Exactly.
That's how it happens, right? That's how the walk-ons kind of happen. HRC might not have done it based on you're asking for a walk-on, which means they got to put you on standby. They're not really privy on putting standbys in for PMEs. And they've never done that before too. That's just kind of one of their things because they kind of know it's going to get filled by those people sitting at Benning, or Leonard Wood or where they're at. That makes sense.
Exactly. And is that Army transitioning to allow people to attend SLC or even ALC at their home location, if there's any, like if there was any in Fort Bragg, if that or everything has stopped completely?
No, right now it has stopped. There is a hold on schools right now.
Okay, 100%.
There is talk, though. There is talk on how we can execute. Like you said, there's a school at Leonard Wood. We got people at Leonard Wood. Can we get them on there? Mm-hmm. The problem still lies on what we can't get past right now is the separation. The social distancing. We can't get past. You put a bunch of people in the classroom that is not conducive to the environment that we need to be in right now.
Another question will be like after that one, if they even implemented or allowed it, how is it that fair to everybody else who doesn't have a home station SLC or ALC, or virtual?
That's been the issue. I'm sorry about that. Let me get.
No, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Gotta get something in my throat there. That's always been an issue that I've always asked that same question, right? It's always been like, hey, how is it fair for the person that's got lucky and he or she's at Fort Leonard Wood or Fort Benning and gets the slot early? How's that, especially now? And it also become an issue as we get into this new talent management one, right? Because talent management, everybody gets OML'd 1 to 100. Let's just say 1 through 8. Have to go to SLC, but 9 and 10 just got lucky because they were a staff sergeant at Leonard Wood, at Benning, at Huachuca, wherever the school was, and they got to walk on to the course when the first promotion comes out, because now it's monthly promotion by needs of the Army. We say we need 5 or 6. Do you skip all the way to 9 and 10 because they have SLC? Because now what you just did is you made a system where number one is number one. It's not just because he or she's older. Number one is because they're got the top score on the board. Do you skip them based on that? That answer has not yet been fully answered by HRC, and they're still combing through that and of kind of how we're going to attack that piece. So it's always been a question on, is it fair or unfair when you get ahead of class?
It's always going to be an issue,
Yep, because you got lucky, and it's just luck and timing, right? Where you were at the time that school came through.
I just sent you a new question from Lieutenant Donner.
Okay.
Former.
What about deferments due to deployments to COVID-19 response or combat deployments? Will this affect NCOs regards PME? Okay, so good question. And I know we got the Corps of Engineers out there working. We have doctors out there that are working. We have all kinds of other people that are the guard that is going in there. The bottom line is that's where the brigade and the 10-star major come into play. They have to work it out for their soldiers to get them into school. They got to make sure that people are understanding that they were there for a reason, and either make two decisions: keep them there or push them back, right? So we got to make a decision of it, and that's kind of where the senior leader has to play a role in this as we kind of get into this deployment process, people that are deployed, because we're always going to have that, right? When we came back from Iraq during the ISIS fight, I had to fight to get every slot for the first 3 PLD or BLCs at Bragg, right? I did. I got almost 300 slots per, completed. That was only for 2 BCT. You just had to get that fight. That's your senior leader that has to go in there and have that discussion for PME, or send them back, or get them back to PME. Are they that crucial to the mission? And can I not find somebody else? I always ask that question to my commanders. On my first sergeants when they start making decisions, are they that crucial? Can we truly not live with that individual? Because if I put him on the lead of the stack and he goes down, are you telling me that we can't clear that room because he's not there? No, you can't. It's going to be a hard one. Okay, so and I'd rather go hard and take care of the trooper than put him behind if I can. Does that make sense?
100%. Lieutenant Donner, if you would like to have a follow up on that one, let us know. So with the conversation going, what do you think the Army's with this new policy? The Army will pick and choose to implement for the future, or any future scenarios, like, for example, waiving. Obviously, that could be a policy that could be on hold for any other situation that may arise like this. But what will you see the Army taking from this?
I really think, based on what we always do, we'll revert back to norms, right? The fastest thing the Army likes to do, and we always like to do, is go back to norms. We got to get back to normal business days, because that's the best thing that a soldier can do, is get back to normal. That's the best thing an organization could do. So I think the Army, as soon as this is over, is try to get us back, balanced back again, and then just move on, right? We got to continue moving forward as if nothing happened before COVID. That's what makes us a good Army. That's what makes us resilient. That's what kind of we get there. We make adjustments to the environment, or we make adjustments to ourselves because of the environment. And when the environment changes back, we revert back what we need to. Now, if there's good lessons learned, I highly take it. One of the things I told my boss, we have 100 meetings and we just figured out we could do a lot of them over the phone. Let's do them over the phone, right? We don't sit at a table for 8 hours. I like to stand up and walk around, So kind of, you could take lessons learned like that and kind of go off of that. But the right thing to do is to get back to normal. Get back to more formations, doing PT, getting back that face-to-face communication back into our ranks again. Yeah,
I think the one of the biggest things the Army should take away from all this is to rely on technology. We have technology for a reason. We at the higher level, at higher echelon, they do telework all the time. But I think they should rely back on technology a little bit more. We have it here. We can use it.
Yeah, simple.
It is not saying we should work from home all 100%, but like you said, meetings and emails and all that could be just a one Zoom meeting away from happening. Then you don't have to drive. Germany, for example, Hohenfeld was 2 hours away from division, so you had to drive 2 hours for a division meeting that could happen on a telework.
Yep. That's all common sense, right? You can easily bring the people in, save time, right? It saves time, it saves resources, right? Because somebody had to pay for that gas. Somebody had to pay for that individual to get there. You had to spend money to buy your own food because you didn't have your home book, unless you brought your food with you. All kinds of factors but I agree. We have technology. Let's utilize it the best we can at the end of the day.
Let me do a pun here real quick. So if you're just joining the chat, we are opening the floor for anybody who has any question about the new Army policy for COVID-19 or anything they want to ask for promotion, deployments, or anything, any doubts and complaints or anything. Put them in the comments. We'll get them answered to you the best we can. Right now, we're having a conversation about the Army's scenarios for the near future. With that, Sergeant Major, Lieutenant Down, sir, thank you. You're my former NCO, deferred SOC due to a deployment to Saudi Arabia, approximately 10 days prior to the outbreak. Hopefully, she returns once COVID dies down and she is placed on her PME class accordingly. I love the information to take care of the soldiers. So that's basically
I fully agree. As her first line supervisor, as a platoon leader, probably, or the lieutenant, just fight to get her back. Fight to get somebody to replace her. Somebody can easily replace her and get her back so she can get her PME complete. That's how we take care of soldiers, right?
Exactly. So I know corporate engineers are busy right now through all this. They're doing hospitals in New York. Now they're going to Louisiana.
We actually got Chicago right now. We're in Detroit. Louisiana's finishing up. We're eventually going to hit Florida here pretty soon. Every state right now, the Corps of Engineers, we're working to get hospitals built up for the states. And really, we're getting ahead of it, which is great. We're not going to react to contact. We're actually trying to plan it out, MDMP it out, make sure that we're they're guessing the curve, they're guessing the numbers, and based off the numbers is how we're prioritizing the bill. So when are you going to run out of hospital space? I'm going to put a temporary hospital in your location for you to use. They may use it, they may not, but I rather err on not having to jump through hoops to react to contact. I'd rather have the ambush set instead of doing react to contact. So
like medics and engineers are essential right now at this point.
They are. And if you don't know, the Army Army recalled, sent out a recall for they've sent out, I think it's 800,000 retirees received an email. And I think about 70,000 replied to come back into active duty. And what they're looking for is medics, like medical professionals.
68 series. Yep.
Anybody that retired in the 68 series world, like if you want to come back active duty, already retired, we'll bring you on. And that's what we need right now.
Exactly. So give me 2 seconds. Let me put the computer connected real quick.
Yep.
All right, we're back. So a question came along and we already answered it. It was, will our LLC days get postponed? Obviously the answer is yes.
Yes.
We already talked about it. It's going to be, you want to hit on that really quick again, Simon? The way you explain it with the whole.
Yeah, so right now, if you got canceled out from March to, let's say March, you're in a March class, you got canceled. April's classes are getting canceled. May's classes are getting canceled. What the Army will end up doing is if you're going to March, the first window that opens up for school, they will HR slot you for that course and then kind of fill you in that way. And again, the only thing I said is be very careful to defer that class because you're going to hit a bad road of backlog for a while that we'll end up trying to catch up for a while. So to me is as soon as you get that, they're going to keep you in the order that you were initially to try to fill you. But the worst thing that can happen is you defer for whatever reason. And I got it, things happen. But I just make sure it's life crisis that you cannot get to school for 4 to 6 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on your ALC, SLC, and just get it done. Get it knocked out so it's out of the way and completed. So.
Exactly. So back to our previous conversation. So have you seen any SOPs that the active Army has to be, because I'm guessing you guys work with National Guard right now and in conjunction with the state. So any friction points that you guys seen so far or anything like that?
No, not at all. I mean, it's as normal as we've always had. I mean, when you bring the compo 1s, 2, and 3s together, it's kind of normal. It's just we're all rowing in the same direction to get the same mission complete. The Guard is there to support the state. The active duty is there to support. Really, when you look at it, it's really we're there to support add some power to the Guard. Like we're going to kind of cover wherever they need our help at, right? And we've always done it that way.
Exactly.
And when we go to combat, it's almost the same way, right? We go to combat as an active duty force. and we use our Compo 2 and 3 to fill in our gaps, the stuff that we cannot fill in, the stuff that they have that we don't have enough of, or we've gotten rid of through time because the MOS we weren't needing an active duty, and now we sink it to the Guard or Reserve. Now they're the ones compensating us and helping us through this fight, through whatever fight that is.
Exactly. So your station right now, where, Simon?
So I'm in Winchester, Virginia. It's about 45 minutes from DC. It's kind of where my home base is right now.
And that's where Virginia got hit hard in the cities area. As far as
so not as much. DC's kind of was a big hotbed, but Virginia itself, the state has pretty much taken proactive measures to kind of stop it as fast as they could. They put all the restrictions in place very quickly, just to make sure that we protected the people. And every state's going to make that decision. The nation will not make that decision for the states. And I think the states are all doing their part to listen to their professional medical people, and they make the right call. And all we could do, we don't get into the politics. We just, when we're asked to go, we go and we help them out. They want a hospital, the Corps of Engineers will go build them a hospital. All they got to do is ask, and we'll be there without a question.
Yeah, let me get this connection back on track and go back to the feed again. I appreciate you being here, though. It's a lot of people I know they had doubts and questions about this. So, and this is new for everybody. It's pretty awesome that you actually agree to do this interview with me.
Yeah, no issues. Anytime, man. Anytime you ask, I'll be there. You know it.
Let me see if I can get Facebook again. If there's no questions, then we can basically close it out with whatever, anything else that you want to say. I mean, the internet kind of lag a little bit to refresh, which is tough. Yeah, I've been following the president every day. Like I do like a little summary every day of what he says. And
yeah, funny. I've been watching yours. I've been catching it. I like it. I like the summary. Sometimes I miss it. I like to catch it, and sometimes I miss it. And I'm like, let me just go. I jump on your page. I get, all right, I got the summary. Good. What's going on?
A lot of people are like, hey man, thank you. I don't want to sit there for 2 hours and watch it. I was like, you think I want to watch it for 2 hours? But I'm trying to help out people. It's a lot of information. There's a lot of information coming out of the press conference, and a lot of people doesn't listen to it, and they have a lot of questions. And then when it comes down to it, you're lost, and you're like, oh man, like what happened yesterday? The president said something. The biggest thing right now is
every day, which is unprecedented, right? Every day he's getting out data, which is great. Never seen that before, wise, at least from the presidential side. But there's data every day, and that's pretty important. And again, it goes back to my biggest key, right? Communication's key. We have to keep communicating. We can't. One day is too long to go without communication. Both with just communication of professional communication. Hey, this is what's going on professional, but also, hey, personal, right? Hey, how you doing? How's your family doing? Like we have, as leaders in the Army, we do anything right. That's the discussion we should be having, right? How is your family doing? How is your mental, emotional state doing for your family? Because this is not easy and this is not normal for anybody.
No, this is definitely not normal. I'm one of the people that got Stop Movement, PCS. So that's why I got the beard and I'm like civilian style right now. Yeah. So
it's all right, Joe. I got something for you when you get on the trail.
I got my hat in my car. I'm just waiting for the call.
You're a rookie, man. You're what's your hat doing? Your hat don't even have a mile. Come on now. Come on, rookie. Huh?
I'm gonna wear it soon. Yeah. I'll open it on my phone in case somebody put comments. But yeah, I'm just waiting. I'm waiting right now. I submitted my ETP. So hopefully that gets approved. And a lot of people are asking for it too. ETPs are they have to go so high that we'll have to wait.
And I tell you, it's gonna. Honestly, it's going to be hard for them to approve it. They're trying to control it, and they're trying to show that, really it's just the Army saying, hey, we're game too, right? We're going to do what we can without busting readiness, but if we can do it and hold it, we're going to hold it, right? We're going to stop operations just like the rest of the nation is.
Yeah, it makes sense. It was more like a request from my brigade and battalion. They had a talk conversation. They're like, hey, Drew Sergeant should submit ETPs. And I was like, let me submit mine then. I want to see where mine goes. So, well, Sergeant Major, I would really appreciate it. You want to add anything to the whole, to close it out?
Yeah. Again, I just kind of, if they're still there, again, communicate with your soldiers, check on them, check on how they're doing, check on how their families are doing. an important time when we're not having a formation every day and you can't see their expression, right? You can't see how they come into work, if they're mad, you know how it is. They come in, their head down. Hey, what's going on? You have that discussion. You can't see that nowadays. You can't see it in this environment. So I emphasize, communicate with your soldiers, make sure they're doing okay, make sure their families are doing okay, because that's the most important thing we could do right now is maintain the force ready, and taking care of soldiers is how you maintain the force ready, is making sure that they know that we still care. And if they got an issue, we help them solve their issue. And then get out there with the resources, right? Like I said, HRC, S1.net. Like there's so many resources out there that our soldiers need to ping to and our leaders need to ping to, is they got to get on there, you know. There's sites, just get smart on what's out there. Right? Yep,
they have to get, the LRAC for this situation, so people need to read them. I read the whole thing, all three of them.
There's a Fraggles come out from HQDA. Fraggle 16 was the latest one. I mean, 17 will come out. You got to dissect that information, figure out what it pertains to you and your soldiers, and can get it out there. Social media, do a discussion, however it is, right?
Exactly.
Track COVID. Make sure you know what's going on with COVID, right? You know, a lot of people don't like to watch the news. I got it. But you got to be able to know what's going on with it so you can make sure your soldiers are informed with it. You know, we always used to do current events. It used to be a board topic. You even said current events. Yeah. There's a reason. Current events help you make sure that your soldiers understand what's going on in the world and you stay smart and relevant with it. All right, because the world changes. And really whatever happens with the world affects us. It's just like this. COVID, how's it going to affect the Army? It's a disease. Well, we mobilized the Army because of a disease, because it became a war. It's a war on a disease, right? And we have the expertise to do it. So just stay attentive to the news and just communicate. But I appreciate the time. Appreciate you bringing me on. Anytime you need me, you know, I'm there for you, brother.
No,
reach out if I can help you. I'm available on Global anytime. Anytime you need it, just shoot me a note and I'll try to answer to help you out in any way I can and use my rank for good, right? Most important thing we do is use our rank for good and use your rank to help soldiers out. That's what we do.
Absolutely. That's why I reached out right away. I'm like, I gotta talk to Samuel Delapena to see if we can clear the floor. I was bombarded by questions and messenger texts. I had my friend in Afghanistan asking me questions about the ETP, which we didn't talk about it here, but their ETP got canceled, so he wanted to ask questions. So I was like, man, I'm gonna try to get Samuel on the line, and we're gonna try to answer as many questions as we can. So, and
if you get any that come up when we get off here, just send them to me on Messenger or send me a note.
Absolutely.
And I'll answer it to you and I'll get it so we can answer that question, right? The last thing I want to do is not answer somebody's question.
Absolutely. I think let me see one more. I want to open the floor for like 10-15 seconds. It's Lieutenant Donner said, thank you for both of us. And then common sense leadership is crucial, not more than we've seen in the past few years. It helped me to inform my NCOs and those I work with. That was like the last comment there. Well, again, thank you, Time Mayor. We'll keep in touch. I keep growing my beer. I give you some jealousy. I appreciate it, Time Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, airborne all the way, brother.
Thank you. This will defend. That's my new motto.
This will defend.
All right, thank you, Time Mayor. Till the end.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right.